Tonight on Beyond the Bark, we delve into a history rarely told. A story of resilience, resistance, and the complex relationship between Black Americans and their canine companions. It's a journey through time, pain, triumph, and the enduring power of the human-animal bond. Get ready to explore Unleashing History, a Black history of dog ownership on Beyond the Bark. A dog's love, unconditional, pure. It's a connection that transcends words, a bond that warms the heart. For many of us, dogs are family. But for Black Americans, the story of dog ownership is woven together with threads of both joy and pain. Imagine a world where the sound of barking doesn't bring joy, but crippling fear. A world where a dog's loyalty is twisted and weaponized. During the horrific era of slavery, dogs were transformed into instruments of terror. Breeds like bloodhounds and Cuban mastiffs were trained to hunt, to track, intimidate, and even unalive runaway slaves. While one segment of America lived in fear of dogs, another was celebrating them. The late 19th century saw the rise of organized dog breeding, a growing fascination with purebreds. Kennel clubs sprung up. Pedigrees became prized possessions. The American Kennel Club, a symbol of this blossoming dog culture, was founded in 1884. Two Americas, two vastly different experiences in one America. Dog socials and clubs like the AKC were the norm. And with dogs becoming a status symbol by the 1800s, several states passed laws prohibiting the other America from owning dogs or limiting the number of dogs they could own. Even after slavery ended, the terror didn't. During the Jim Crow era, dogs remained instruments of racial control. They were used to intimidate, to enforce segregation, and during the Civil Rights Movement, the world witnessed the horrific spectacle of police dogs unleashed on peaceful protesters who were mostly children. These images, they're etched in our collective memory, a reminder of the brutality faced by those fighting for equality, and the nexus of the love-hate relationship many Black Americans have with dogs. But the spirit of resistance cannot be broken. Even in the face of cruelty, love found a way. Some Black families defied the fear, choosing to open their hearts and homes to dogs. And these dogs were not just pets. They were companions, protectors, a source of comfort in a world that offered very little. These acts of love, these bonds of loyalty, became quiet acts of defiance. Because remember, not only could Black Americans not own dogs, they were tortured by them. Today, Black dog owners are part of a vibrant community, sharing the same joy and love that dog owners everywhere experience.
Today was such an amazing day. I was excited to get out and hit the streets with my babies today. They did an amazing job. I'm looking forward to going to take swimming lessons with them. We have a pool in our backyard. And I want them to meet other dogs and be comfortable. And I'm just excited. Like, this is a different level of excitement for me. And I'm ready. I'm ready for this adventure. I'm ready for this journey. Where are we going next, y'all? Where we going?
We made it to Dallas. How many people come to your house? The legacy of slavery and segregation extends beyond the obvious. The relationship between dogs and Black Americans is complex. For nearly 400 years, Dogs were used as instruments of terror, from the cotton fields of antebellum Mississippi to the Jim Crow streets of Birmingham. The use of dogs in this way has left a lasting scar. For some Black Americans, the image of a dog can trigger a visceral reaction, a reminder of the historical violence inflicted upon their ancestors.
Generational trauma, we can't say enough about it. When dealing with the ongoing effects of systematic racism, simply surviving can take precedence. So as we speak about things like dog training or specialized pet care, it is definitely going to seem less urgent when you're facing challenges. People of color love animals just as the next group. We were considerably attached to animals until we were not through trauma. When you're facing challenges of housing, employment, balancing finances, food supply, there is definitely going to be less of a priority on specialized pet care or even talking about specialized training.
Generational trauma, coupled with systematic inequalities, has created significant barriers for many Black communities, especially when it comes to dog ownership.
Generational trauma. Some refer to it as a generational curse. No, what it really is generational behaviors that's been inflicted upon groups of people, and people have subconsciously or consciously, they have adopted those particular characteristics. You don't even have to have experienced direct trauma with dogs. You can merely look at our history. You can see an array of TV shows and other documentaries that show us the horrific things that were put upon people of color.
That Marshall and the bitches send D'Artagnan to nigga heaven.
When you talk about ripping people apart, when you talk about separating families and the fear of if someone approaches you, you're going to be killed with an attack of a dog. Before you know it,
Trauma isn't just an event, it's an inheritance. It can be passed down through generations, impacting how we process fear, trust, and even love.
it becomes a part of who we are. And so we have never truly addressed the emotional trauma that comes from all these acts perpetrated upon people.
My name is Mrs. Doris Barry. I lived in the Mill Creek area in St. Louis. Dogs, we see dogs in the movies, like we would see animals in the movies, but we didn't have pets.
Growing up as a kid, when you was a young kid, you didn't see that many
We
dogs?
didn't have that many dogs. Dogs were loose in the neighborhood if they had some. People at that time was poor. You would see a dog every now and then, not more in the house, in the yard. They had dog houses they started building.
How did you feel about dogs growing up as a child? Did you like dogs?
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
Oh, yes. Love dogs. You know, they would be wandering around and you see this stray dog, and a lot of times they weren't vicious like the police dog. You go near a dog and the first time, this is a white policeman. I can't ever remember seeing a black policeman with a dog.
And Mrs. Barry is absolutely correct. She didn't. Police dogs emerged in 1956, with Baltimore being the first city to adopt a modern canine unit, followed by St. Louis in 1958, which was significant because St. Louis was the first city ever to employ a black canine officer. It sounds like despite the torturous ways that dogs was used against our community,
Yeah.
we still like dogs.
Oh, yeah. They were, look here, they were lovable. They were, how can I put it? We loved the dogs. We didn't mistreat the dogs. We had nothing to say that this is my dog and he's had his shots or anything. This was our playmate. You have to remember that we lived in a segregated world at the time. We didn't have anything except the dogs to play with.
helps you make it fresh.
The bond between a human and a dog, it's powerful. It can heal in ways we are only beginning to understand. For some, particularly within communities that have experienced historical trauma, this bond can be especially profound. For me, creating this film has been a journey of discovery. I knew that dogs had been used as an instrument of oppression, but I didn't fully grasp the depth of the pain, the extent to which the history has impacted the relationship between Black Americans and dogs. It's a history that's both heartbreaking and ultimately inspiring.
So it's really quite complex. I was bitten by dogs at the age of, I think I was about 9 years old. I have to be conscious as an adult now not to, first of all, go back in my past and marry that one event of being hurt to everyday ongoing life moving forward. You have to be willing to move forward and disassociate the two events. They do not have to become your future just because you've had a moment of trauma. I guarantee you that.
It's quite a phenomenon, really. Walk through any Black neighborhood today, and you're likely to see dogs of every breed imaginable. Big, small, fluffy, short-haired, being walked, played with, and loved. You were born in 1939, right?
You wanted to play with the dogs. And a lot of times, if you had food or something in your hand, you give them food and then you got a friend for at least a day, you know.
Can't get right, canine training. Daddy Pacquiao, the canine king.